Good morning, everyone. It's time to go on the record.
And so the next time somebody says something about how poorly your government is run, you can point to the work that we've done here.
3 grueling months to come back. Disaster strikes in the Merrimack Valley, and Lawrence Mayor Dan Rivera was the relentless and calm leader for a struggling city. He's our guest today. It's Christmas time, and the National Grid lockout drags on. This as Governor Baker lifts the moratorium on non-compliance work for the utility company's gas lines. Right move? We'll talk about that. And
gift ideas for the politician on your shopping list. Lucky you.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ed Harding, along with News Center 5's political reporter Janet Wu. Thank you for joining us. Christmas is now just, about 48 hours or so away. It is a busy time, and Lawrence Mayor Dan Rivera, who has been out straight since the 13th of September in the Columbia gas explosions, is taking time to be here with us today. Recovery was painful and slow for thousands of residents in the valley, and there is still unfinished business. And unrelatedly, happy birthday.
Thank you.
You have birthday and Christmas, bang, bang?
Yeah, get this happening around the same time.
Did you ever get cheated in gifts? You know what I mean?
Did I ever get cheated in? It's like I was cheated always. It builds character.
It builds character.
It builds character.
Very good.
So what does it say? One of our number one fans of OTR decides to spend his birthday
Yeah,
with
they're
us.
right. We're on it.
You're darn lucky.
Where else am I going to be?
So it's 2 days before Christmas. Are you getting what you want from Columbia Gas?
Listen, I've come to the point with our relationship with Columbia Gas that we're not going to beg them to do and meet their responsibilities, do what they're supposed to do. So I think it's going to be a drag-out fight from here on in. It's easy when you can see the visual effects of the impact of the disaster right in front of you, and trailers and people without heat and hot water. But now that everyone's home with heat and hot water and their appliances have been replaced, there is the soft impact of this thing, and even the hard impact of the streets and the sidewalks and the parks. And so I have a pledge that we are not going to beg for them to fix the damage that they made.
Should there be fines? How much?
100%. I think they should be fined. I mean, I'm still of the opinion that they should have their license revoked and somebody else should run the gas system in the city of Lawrence and maybe in the Commonwealth. But I don't know what those numbers look like. But if people don't feel pain when they do these things, they'll just keep doing them. And people will and political people and the citizen will be like, why is this still happening again? It's because no one felt pain.
The thing that keeps running through my mind is it was horrible what the residents went through, and to be without heat and hot water and non-use of appliances for a period of time. But a life was lost in this. Yeah. That's the number one thing that sits in my head.
Well, the life, the peace of neighborhoods. People's first homes. A young lady lost, I think maybe even lost use of her legs. The PTSD around this stuff. Kids watched their neighbors' houses catch fire. This isn't a small thing. This isn't, somebody forgot to put a piece of something in some manufacturing, and so a company did something bad. This is 3 communities were turned upside down for a very long period of time.
Forgive the nature of this question, but do you think that the explosion could happen again?
I think so. It's the human factor about this. I think it can, and part of the reason why I think it can is because if there is not a big enough penalty, if people don't feel enough pain, they're not going to take the steps to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Well, which leads me back to the fine. Do you have a number that you would like to see that you think they should be fined, or at least a neighborhood?
I don't know, and I would leave that up to DPU to try to calculate that.
And how confident are you? Like, what are you hearing from the Baker administration? Do you think there will be fines?
I've heard rumors that there's going to be a fine. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, all I know is that if what I understood it to be true, which is that they had $300 million in profits, and they had an $800 million life insurance policy, and that just goes to how much money did they make in revenue. So they have money in the stream, and that's just 1 year. So who knows what they have for money banked away. But I think they should feel pain, and frankly, if they don't feel enough pain, it could be any other one of the gas companies.
I want to go back, because you did say this a couple minutes ago, but I want to make sure that I heard it correctly. You said they should lose their license.
I think they should. If you held up a grocery store, and in the process of holding up a grocery store, you shot somebody, you'd go to jail. There'd be no conversation about it. There wouldn't be like a parole meeting. They'd be like, well, maybe we should let him on the street. Maybe we should just try to see how he does without. No, you'd go to jail. A person lost their life. But 10,000 households we're told it turned into topsy-turvy. And I think that they should think about that. And the only way to do that in an environment where there's only 3 or 4 utility companies
That's my point.
is to tell one of them they can't work here anymore.
But practically speaking, politically speaking, do you think that would actually happen, that they would lose their license?
Listen, I have a different perspective on the power of government and where it should intervene. I'm a Democrat, and government programs have played a big role in my life. And people have stopped believing in government because the big things they're supposed to do, they stopped doing it. And one of them is protecting them from big companies who do things like this.
Speaking of another big company, Governor Baker lifted the moratorium on non-compliance work for National Grid's gas lines. There are some tough caveats that have been included, including heavy fines and additional state supervision if they don't do exactly what they're supposed to. But their 1,200 gas workers are still locked out. So do you think the governor made the right move?
I think that everything that should be done to get those guys back to work. And again, this is when big companies are making decisions on the margins and where they could really make an impact on people's lives and not doing it. But I do think there are people in our community and other communities that need, and we don't have National Grid, but in our community, we have to let Columbia Gas dig some lines because people are building houses and we want that, and businesses are expanding and they need connection to heat and hot water. And I think
so lifting the moratorium was the right thing.
Sensible. I think it's sensible. Now, I like the caveats around it too, but more importantly, this isn't really about, he's letting them go so that he's letting them off the hook. They still have to figure this thing out. They can't do that in a safe way. There's a point where the utilities are so involved in our lives that they create pain for the citizens, and I'm not sure that's what everybody wants.
We're speaking broadly here too. I mean, I know you're the mayor of Lawrence, but this affected 3 communities in the Merrimack Valley.
100%, yeah.
So it's not just exclusive to what you're saying.
No, and so for us, I went to high school. I played football against some of these communities,
right.
In Andover, North Andover. The businesses in Andover, North Andover, they employ people in Lawrence, and vice versa. And so, yeah, this didn't happen just to Lawrence. It happened to the greater Lawrence community.
And going to Christmas time and the businesses that have been quiet.
Yeah, we've been so blessed that people have been coming back down to those businesses.
The holiday season, to be clear.
Yeah, and so the holiday season has been tough, but I think it's another way to get people around. We had our biggest tree lighting ceremony we had the other day, and our menorah lighting ceremonies, and we did stuff with the other community. So it's been good for that sense. But this isn't a small thing. No. If this had happened 2 hours later in the day, you would have had people cooking on a stove, and that stove would have turned into a flamethrower.
Exactly. All right, I'm going to change the mood dramatically.
Oh my God.
Because we're.
I kind of fear it.
I just pulled a piece of paper out of my jacket.
I know, but that's a scary piece of paper.
I have in my hands the OTR pop quiz.
It's a birthday pop quiz.
It's a birthday pop quiz. All right, here we go. This is actually, and we're going to shift gears. We're not going to be talking about the gas line disaster. We're going to talk about this. In less than 2 weeks, Governor Charlie Baker will have his second inaugural. So the theme of today's OTR pop quiz is Beacon Hill inaugurals. Question 1. When Governor Deval Patrick first took the oath of office in 2007, he placed his hand on a special Bible. What historic holy book did the first African-American governor choose? And I'll give you choices. Was it the Mendy Bible? Was it the Harvard Bible? Or was it the Puritan Good Book?
The Puritan Good Book.
It was the Mendy Bible. It's a Bible that was presented to John Quincy Adams by a group of freed Mendy slave captives who had mutinized in the schooner Lamistad.
I have a fear that I'm going to do miserable.
No, you did great. You did great. There's only one, and you have a few more.
Okay.
Governor Patrick got off to a rough public relations start when he ordered 2 big-ticket expense items weeks after he took office. What did he do?
One was SUVs.
Okay, one's a car. Good.
I think it was all much ado about nothing.
Okay.
The other was curtains, right?
And curtains, bingo. See, so you're 1 for 2. You're batting 500.
I think it was much ado about nothing.
Leases an $1,100 a month Cadillac and spends $27,000 to redecorate his office, including $12,000 on drapes. We continue with the mayor of Lawrence in just a minute.